In the middle of the 20th century, astronomers noticed something unsettling etched onto photographic plates of the sky. A single point of light. Star-like in appearance, yet impossibly misplaced. It was far too distant to shine so intensely, and far too bright to belong where it appeared. The object was catalogued without ceremony. No poetry, no explanation. Just a designation pulled from a sky survey, Tian 618. For years it remained a mystery, a dot that refused to behave like anything familiar. Only later did its true nature begin to surface. What astronomers had found was not a star at all, but one of the most extreme objects the universe can produce. A quasar. A beacon powered not by nuclear fusion, but by gravity itself. At the heart of a distant galaxy, matter was falling into a black hole with such violence that space around it ignited. Gas did not plunge straight inward, it spiraled. An enormous disk formed, stretching across light years, rotating faster and faster as it descended. Friction and compression drove temperatures into the millions of degrees. Atoms were torn apart. Radiation flooded outward in every direction. X-rays, ultraviolet light, visible brilliance. The result was something that should not exist. A single point of light brighter than the combined glow of hundreds of billions of stars. A galaxy outshone by its own center. Tian 618 was not merely active, it was excessive. The light we detect today began its journey when the universe itself was young, barely a few billion years old. It has traveled across expanding space for more than 10 billion years, slipping past forming galaxies, stellar births, and cosmic catastrophes before finally arriving here. What we see is not the object as it is. It is the object as it was, ancient, frozen in transit. At the core of this distant quasar lies one of the most massive black holes ever confirmed. Not millions of times the mass of the Sun, not billions, but tens of billions, so massive that its gravity reshapes everything around it on scales that defy intuition. So large that its event horizon, the point beyond which nothing can return, could swallow entire planetary systems without effort. If such an object existed nearby, it would not look like a void, it would look like fire. Yet distance protects us, and time deceives us. Because the universe does not allow us to see what is happening there now. We are separated not just by space, but by billions of years of delay. And that raises a question far more disturbing than size or brightness. If this black hole already existed so early in cosmic history, how did it grow so large, so fast, in a universe that was barely beginning? That question leads us deeper, past light, past scale, into a problem that modern physics still cannot fully solve. To understand why Tian 618 unsettles astronomers, we need to slow down and look at how black holes are supposed to grow. In theory, black holes gain mass in a very simple way. They eat. Gas clouds drift inward. Stars wander too close. Entire solar systems are pulled apart and added to the total. But this process is not unlimited. When matter falls toward a black hole, it does not disappear quietly. As it spirals inward, it heats up. That heat becomes radiation, and radiation pushes back. This balance creates a natural speed limit known as the Eddington limit. Feed too fast, and the intense light produced by the infalling matter generates enough outward pressure to blow the remaining gas away. The black hole begins to starve itself. According to this rule, even under ideal conditions, black holes grow slowly, predictably, patiently. Yet Tian 618 does not fit that story. By the time its light began its journey toward us, the universe was only a few billion years old. Galaxies were still assembling, stars were still igniting for the first time. And already, this black hole had reached a mass tens of billions of times greater than the Sun. That should not be possible. If it started small, growing at the maximum allowed rate, there simply was not enough time. The math does not work. The clock runs out too soon. so astronomers are left with uncomfortable possibilities. Perhaps TON 618 did not start small at all. One idea suggests that in the early universe, enormous clouds of pristine hydrogen collapsed directly into black holes, skipping the star phase entirely. No supernova, no gradual buildup, just direct collapse on a massive scale. If TON 618 began this way, it would have been born heavy, already monstrous. Another possibility is even stranger. Maybe in the chaotic early universe, the Eddington limit was not as absolute as we thought. Maybe feeding could occur faster, hidden behind thick veils of gas and dust that trapped radiation long enough to allow runaway growth. In that scenario, TON 618 would be evidence that our understanding of black hole physics is incomplete, that under extreme conditions, nature finds loopholes. Either way, the conclusion is the same. This object should not exist, at least not according to our neat equations. And yet, there it was, brilliant, violent, unavoidable. At its peak, the quasar, powered by TON 618, released more energy than entire galaxies. Not metaphorically, literally. Trillions of times brighter than the sun. So luminous that even after traveling for more than 10 billion years, its signal still reaches us. Imagine standing on a world orbiting that distant galaxy. The night sky would not be dark. It would be dominated by a single, blinding core, a point of light that drowned out every star around it. A galaxy reduced to background noise. But this phase does not last forever. Black holes consume what they can reach. Eventually, the fuel runs thin. Gas is exhausted or blown away. The accretion disk fades. The quasar dies. What remains is something far more difficult to grasp. A silent mass. A gravitational relic. A black hole so large that it bends time and space on scales we can barely model. And this is where the story becomes unsettling in a different way. Because we have no idea what TON 618 is doing now. The light we see today is ancient. It shows us a universe that no longer exists. If TON 618 went quiet billions of years ago, we will not know for billions more. If it is still feeding, still blazing, still growing, that truth is locked away in the future. We are watching a ghost, a message sent across cosmic time with no possibility of reply. And that realization changes how we think about observation itself. We are not seeing reality. We are seeing history. Silence is the natural end state of most black holes. After the era of violent feeding passes, what remains is something deceptively simple: mass without light. No blaze, no warning, just gravity. Our own galaxy carries evidence of this cycle. At the center of the Milky Way sits a black hole millions of times more massive than the Sun. Today, it is quiet. Occasionally, a cloud of gas drifts too close and triggers a brief flare, but the age of constant feeding ended long ago, long before Earth formed. TON 618 may have followed the same path. The difference is scale. When a black hole reaches tens of billions of solar masses, its influence extends far beyond its immediate surroundings. It shapes the fate of its entire galaxy. As it feeds, radiation floods outward, heating and dispersing gas that would otherwise form new stars. Star birth slows. Galactic evolution changes direction. In this way, supermassive black holes are not just passengers in galaxies. They are architects. TON 618 likely lived during the most turbulent era the universe has ever known. A time when galaxies collided frequently, when vast rivers of gas flowed inward, when gravity had easy access to fuel. That environment no longer exists. The modern universe is calmer, colder, more spread out. The feast is over, which makes TON 618 more than an object. It is a fossil, a preserved snapshot of an extreme phase in cosmic history, A moment when black holes could grow to sizes we struggle to explain today. And yet, even calling it a fossil is misleading, because fossils are still here. Tonn 618 is not in any meaningful sense. What exists now at that location is unreachable to us, even in principle. The universe has expanded so much since the light left that region that its present state is permanently hidden behind time. This introduces a quiet but profound truth. There is no universal present. The cosmos does not share a single moment across its vastness. Every observation is delayed. Every image is outdated. The farther we look, the older reality becomes. When we observe Tonn 618, we are not witnessing an object. We are witnessing an era. An epoch when matter moved faster, collisions were common, and gravity ruled unchecked. And that raises an unsettling possibility. If objects like Tonn 618 were common in the early universe, how many others existed that we will never see? How many extreme black holes formed, blazed briefly, then faded, their light never reaching us at all? Our telescopes do not show us the universe as it is. They show us only the fragments that survived the journey. Tonn 618 is one of those survivors. A signal strong enough to cross billions of years and still arrive intact. But even that signal tells us only half the story. Because no matter how powerful our instruments become, they cannot overcome time. They cannot catch up to the present. And so, every improvement in our technology only deepens the paradox. The more clearly we see the universe, the more we realize how much of it is forever beyond reach. There is a temptation to think of black holes as destinations, as places you could point to on a map of the universe and say, there it is. Tonn 618 resists that instinct. It is not a place. It is an event that happened long ago, whose consequences are still traveling. Even if a civilization far more advanced than ours set out toward that region of space today, it would never arrive at the Tonn 618 we observe. It would arrive at something else entirely, something shaped by billions of years of change we cannot witness. The universe does not preserve objects. It preserves trajectories. Light leaves, space stretches, time intervenes. By the time information reaches us, the source has already moved on. This is why Tonn 618 feels unsettling, in a way few objects do. Its scale is extreme, but scale alone is not the source of discomfort. It is the separation. Distance we can imagine. Time we can imagine, but distance through time is different. The light from Tonn 618 has been traveling longer than complex life has existed on Earth. Longer than the continents have held their current shapes. Longer than the sun has been halfway through its life. Civilizations could rise and fall 1,000,000 times over during that journey. And yet to us it arrives as a single moment, a steady glow on a detector. This compression hides the violence of what we are seeing. During its active phase, Tonn 618 was converting mass into energy with ruthless efficiency. Matter did not vanish quietly. It was torn apart, heated, accelerated, and flung outward at relativistic speeds. Jets of particles likely extended far beyond the host galaxy, carving paths through intergalactic space. Radiation altered the chemistry of surrounding regions, suppressing star formation and reshaping entire cosmic neighborhoods. This was not a passive object. It was an engine operating at a scale where intuition collapses. Yet the engine did not run forever. No matter how massive a black hole becomes, it is still constrained by its environment. It cannot consume what is not there. Once the surrounding gas was exhausted or expelled, the blaze would have faded. The disk would have thinned. The radiation would have dropped. The quasar phase would have ended. What remains after that is difficult to visualize because it produces no spectacle. A black hole of 66 billion solar masses does not announce itself. It does not glow. It does not roar. It simply is. Its gravity continues to shape space. Its presence continues to affect orbits. But without matter to feed on, it becomes effectively invisible. And this creates a final, uncomfortable thought. The universe may be filled with objects like TON 618 in this silent state. Giants that once outshone galaxies, now indistinguishable from the darkness around them. Too distant, too quiet, too temporally displaced to ever be noticed. TON 618 is visible to us only because we caught it during its brief, violent youth, and only because its light survived a journey that erased nearly everything else. What we call discovery is often just coincidence. We did not find TON 618 because the universe wanted to be understood. We found it because timing allowed it. And that timing will never happen again. Whatever TON 618 is now, whether dormant or still feeding, exists beyond observation, beyond confirmation, beyond correction. We will never see it in the present tense, only as it was, only as a memory carried by light. TON 618 forces us to confront a boundary we rarely acknowledge. Not a boundary of distance, not a boundary of technology, a boundary of time. Every image we collect, every spectrum we analyze, every number we calculate is already outdated the moment it reaches us. The universe does not report live. It sends echoes. TON 608's echo is among the loudest we have ever received, a signal from an era when the cosmos was younger, denser, and far more violent than it is today. An era when black holes did not merely exist inside galaxies, but actively shape them. The object we call TON 618 may no longer resemble the thing we describe. Its accretion disk may have vanished billions of years ago. Its jets may have shut down. Its galaxy may have changed beyond recognition. Or it may still be feeding, still pulling matter inward, still radiating energy, still growing. Both possibilities are equally real and equally inaccessible. This is the strange bargain of astronomy. The farther we look, the deeper we see into the past. The closer we come to understanding origins, the farther we drift from the present. TON 618 reminds us that the universe does not owe us closure. There is no final image waiting to be captured, no definitive answer that will arrive with a better telescope, no future observation that will tell us how this story ends. Some objects exist beyond resolution, not because they are too small, but because they are too old, too distant, too entangled with time itself. What remains is not certainty, but perspective. TON 618 shows us what gravity can do when given enough fuel and enough chaos. It shows us that nature reaches extremes long before our theories are ready. It shows us that the universe has always been capable of building things larger, brighter, and stranger than we expect. And perhaps most importantly, it shows us our place. We live in a narrow slice of cosmic history, looking outward through a tunnel of light that only ever points backward. We reconstruct the universe not as it is, but as it once was, piece by piece, echo by echo. Somewhere far beyond what we can ever reach, TON 618 exists right now in a state we will never witness, and all we will ever have of it is this: ancient light, a fading message, a reminder that the universe is not just vast in space, but vast in time, and that some of its greatest monsters will forever remain unfinished stories, always out of reach, always in the past.